Have you ever felt like your mind is a battlefield, where thoughts race, emotions collide, and peace feels just out of reach in a world that never stops moving? It's easy to lose yourself in the noise, to search for calm in all the wrong places. Success, approval, distraction. But the Stoics taught us a different path. True peace doesn't come from what surrounds you, but from what stands firm within you. It is not the absence of chaos that defines tranquility, but the presence of a steady mind amid the storm. Stoicism doesn't promise comfort. It offers clarity. It doesn't remove hardship. It reshapes how you face it. In this video, we'll explore 8 timeless strategies drawn from Stoic wisdom, simple in practice yet powerful in impact. These are not abstract ideas, but tools for real life, meant to anchor your thoughts, sharpen your focus, and build the kind of inner strength that endures. If you've ever longed for stillness in a restless world, you're in the right place. Stay with us. This journey into the Stoic mind might just change the way you face everything. 1. Embrace what is. You wake up one morning. A single message shatters your calm. Plans collapse, a relationship ends, or a long-awaited opportunity slips away without warning. In that moment, your mind spirals. Why me? Why now? But the truth is simple. Though not easy, it has already happened. No amount of resistance will undo it. Stoicism teaches us a hard but liberating truth. Peace is not found in controlling events, but in accepting them as they are. Reality doesn't ask for your permission. It unfolds according to its own nature, and your strength lies not in resistance, but in response. To embrace reality is not weakness, it's an act of quiet courage. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you but how you react to it that matters. The wise do not curse the wind, they adjust their sails. Picture yourself driving when a sudden storm hits. You can complain, curse the sky, or dwell on ruined plans. But the rain won't stop for your frustration. Or you can turn on music, steady your hands on the wheel, and adapt. The difference isn't in the weather, it's in the mindset. But how do we live this principle, especially when the heart aches or plans unravel? First, notice your resistance. When anger or sorrow arises, pause. Ask, can I change this? If not, every ounce of negative emotion is energy misspent. Your flight is delayed. Use the time to reflect, read, or simply breathe. The obstacle hasn't changed, but you have. Next, shift from resistance to adaptation. Don't ask, why is this happening? Ask, what can I do with this? A failed project becomes a lesson. A lost opportunity makes space for something better. As Marcus Aurelius said, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Lastly, prepare your heart before the storm comes. Practice premeditatio malorum. Visualize difficulties before they arrive. This isn't pessimism but training. When life hits, you won't be surprised. You'll be ready. Acceptance is not surrender, it's clarity, a calm surrender to what is, and a focused will to shape what can be. Bend like the reed in the wind, flexible, resilient, and unbroken. And once you've embraced the present, there's only one thing left: to release the past, but we'll return to that in the next music lesson. 2. Let go of the past. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means releasing the invisible chains that quietly imprison your mind. Picture yourself crossing a narrow bridge while carrying a heavy pack filled with past regrets, old wounds, and moments you wish you could rewrite. Every step becomes harder, not because the road is difficult, but because of the weight you refuse to put down. The truth is, most of what you carry no longer serves you. They are echoes, memories without real power in the present moment, yet they shape your emotions, your identity, even your decisions. Stoicism doesn't teach us to erase the past. It teaches us to accept it, learn from it, and then move forward, lighter, freer. Seneca once wrote, "No man was ever wise by chance." The pain of the past, when accepted and understood, becomes wisdom, but only if you stop clinging to it. So, how do you let go? Start with a simple but powerful realization. The past only holds power if you allow it. The mistake is already made, the loss already felt. What remains is your interpretation, your choice to relive it or release it. Ask yourself, am I using this memory to grow, or am I using it to punish myself? Sometimes we hold on not because we want to, but because pain becomes familiar, like a worn-out story we keep retelling. But ask yourself honestly, does this pain honor what you lost, or does it keep you stuck? A helpful exercise: write down what still haunts you. A failure, a broken relationship, a word you wish you never said. Then ask, does this still have real power in my life today, or is it just a shadow I've mistaken for something solid? To let go is not to forget. It is to reframe. View your scars not as proof of failure, but as reminders that you survived and grew. You are not who you were then. You are who you choose to become now. And most of all, practice. Letting go isn't a one-time act. It's a daily decision. Some days the past will whisper to you, try to pull you back. When it does, answer it gently. That story is over. I'm writing a new one now. Third, anchor in the present. The human mind is like a boat, adrift on the river of time, tossed between the shadows of the past and the fog of the future. If we do nothing, it drifts endlessly, pulled by regrets we cannot change and fears that may never come. But there is one place where these currents lose their power: the present moment. Here, right now, is the only moment that truly belongs to you. The Stoics understood this well. They didn't waste life reliving what was or worrying about what might be. They anchored themselves in the now. As Heracles once said, we should restrict ourselves to the present, for only this is truly ours. And yet, for many of us, living in the present feels strangely out of reach. We eat without tasting, speak without listening, walk without noticing the ground beneath our feet. We don't live, we rush through life, always somewhere else in our minds. But what if you stopped just for a moment? Listen to the hum around you. Feel the breath entering and leaving your body. Ask yourself, is anything missing in this very moment? Often the answer is no. Everything is whole, everything is enough. Being present is not about ignoring the future. It's about giving your full attention to the moment where life actually happens. A warrior doesn't ignore what lies ahead, but he knows he cannot fight tomorrow's battle with today's sword. He must be here now, mind sharp, senses awake. One of the simplest and most effective ways to anchor yourself is through the breath. When your thoughts begin to wander, pause, inhale deeply. Feel the air fill your lungs. Exhale slowly. The breath is always present. Let it guide you back. Have you ever lost yourself in a sunset, a song, or a silent moment so powerful that time seems to stop? That's not coincidence. That's presence. And in that space, peace arises naturally, not because the world is perfect, but because your mind is no longer fighting it. To live with clarity, we must learn not just to act, but to pause, because sometimes wisdom comes not from motion, but from stillness. And in that stillness, we rediscover what it means to truly live. 4. Pause with purpose. In a world obsessed with movement, we often believe that stillness is weakness, that to pause is to fall behind. But the Stoics knew otherwise. True strength, they taught, lies not in constant motion, but in knowing when to stop. Think back to a moment when your thoughts raced in circles, or when working harder only led to deeper exhaustion. That was your mind's quiet plea for stillness, not escape but restoration. Sometimes the wisest thing you can do is to pause, not to abandon effort, but to return to it with clarity and renewed focus. The ancient Romans had a word for this, otium. It wasn't laziness, it was intentional rest, a sacred space for reflection, inner order, and mental renewal. Seneca once wrote, "We should give ourselves a break." The mind must be given time to recover, not just once in a while, but regularly, like a muscle that grows stronger in rest. Even just a minute of mindful pause can act like a reset for the soul. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, let your thoughts rise and fall like waves without chasing them, or step away from your desk. Feel the sun on your skin, and simply observe without judging. These moments are not wasted, they are investments in clarity. Here is something worth trying. The next time stress builds, don't push through it. Instead, pause for just 30 seconds. Anchor yourself in your breath. Feel the rhythm of your body returning to balance. It may feel small, but in that stillness, your mind begins to reorder itself. And if you want this to become a way of life, make it intentional. Before a difficult task, pause after completing one. Breathe, create space between actions, space where wisdom can emerge. Use a simple mantra, pause, breathe, observe. Over time, these small pauses become something more. Stillness will start to infuse even your movement. You'll no longer feel the need to chase time, because you've learned how to master it. Moment by moment, we've now reached the halfway point in our journey to a calmer, more focused mind. If you're still here, it means something powerful. You're serious about your inner growth, and what comes next will take you even deeper. Stay with us, the best is yet to unfold. 5. Master your thought. An untrained mind is like an untended garden. Left alone, it becomes overrun. Weeds of fear, doubt, envy, and self-pity take root, choking the growth of peace and wisdom. Unlike nature, these mental weeds don't wither on their own. If ignored, they flourish and quietly shape our inner world. That's why mastering your thoughts isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. The Stoics understood this with absolute clarity. They didn't seek control over fortune or fate. They focused on the one domain that always remains ours. The mind, as Musonius Rufus said, it is not possible to live well without thinking well. What you frequently allow into your mind becomes the color of your soul. If you dwell in resentment or self-doubt, your spirit will begin to reflect it. But by cultivating awareness, You reclaim authorship over your inner narrative. Start by observing. Notice your thoughts without judgment. Ask, where does this thought come from? Does it serve me? Most worries are not truths. They are assumptions, echoes of old fears or inherited beliefs. A single failure doesn't mean you're incapable, but thinking ill never succeed turns momentary setback into a prison. Picture your mind as a flowing river. You cannot stop the current, but you can choose which thoughts to grasp and which to let pass like driftwood. The goal isn't to fight your thoughts, but to create space between you and them. To see clearly, not react blindly. A practical tool: write down the thoughts that frequently repeat in your mind. On paper, they lose their intensity and reveal their nature. You may discover that what seemed overwhelming was just an echo of an outdated belief. Remember, thought patterns can be reshaped. The harsh self-critic can learn gentleness. The anxious mind can learn balance. But this transformation doesn't happen in a single leap. It's like training a muscle. Steady, intentional, and daily. And perhaps the most Stoic lesson of all: not every thought needs your attention. You don't have to engage with every emotion that rises. Sometimes the wisest move is to simply observe, to let the thought pass without feeding it. Mastery of the mind isn't about control. It's about clarity, and with clarity comes freedom. 6. Detach with grace. Have you ever clung to something so tightly, an ideal, a person, a plan, that you didn't notice it was hurting you more than helping? Like gripping a rope in a storm. Your hands raw and bleeding, but too afraid to let go. We convince ourselves that if we just hold on tighter, we won't lose what we love. But often, it's that very act of clinging that creates our suffering. Imagine standing on a bridge over a fast-flowing river. Leaves, twigs, and branches float by. If you lean down and try to catch one, you risk slipping, even falling. But if you stand still and observe, you remain grounded while the current continues its course. This is the essence of graceful detachment, not coldness, but wisdom. Stoicism does not teach us to stop caring. It teaches us to care well, to love fully but not fearfully, to commit with heart but without illusion. As Arian once wrote in the Discourses of Epictetus, attach yourself only to that which cannot be taken away. We will lose people, opportunities will pass, plans will change. This is life. But suffering is not in the loss. It's in our resistance to it. We say, it shouldn't have ended, or I can't live without this. But the Stoic knows we don't possess anything. Not truly. Everything is borrowed. Even our breath. Think of the things you value most. A dream, a loved one, a role in life. Picture them as birds resting in your open palm. You don't cage them, you don't clutch, you simply hold them, grateful, and when they take flight, you smile, not because it doesn't hurt, but because you love them freely without trying to own them. Seneca once said, "He who is brave is free," and freedom often begins with letting go, not in bitterness, but in peace. Let go of needing everything to go your way. Let go of the illusion that control brings certainty. When life doesn't unfold as planned, ask yourself, is this mine to control? If yes, act with purpose. If not, release it gently. Like a leaf on the river, let it pass, and in that release, feel the quiet strength that comes not from having less, but from needing less. To detach with grace is not to give up. It is to live without fear, love without condition, and walk through life with open hands. 7. Cultivate gratitude. Gratitude at first glance may appear gentle, even simplistic, but in the eyes of the Stoics, it is one of the most powerful disciplines of the mind, not a passing emotion, but a conscious choice, a mental lens through which we begin to see life, not through what is lacking, but through what already is. A man may live in luxury yet feel impoverished, forever haunted by what he does not have. Another may eat a simple meal alone, but feel deeply fulfilled because he has trained his mind to recognize abundance, even in its humblest form. As Epictetus once said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. True richness, according to Stoic philosophy, lies not in acquiring more but in learning to need less." Gratitude is the soil in which this richness grows. But the modern mind is not conditioned for gratitude. We scroll, compare, and crave, constantly reminded of what we lack. We dream endlessly of the next success, the next possession, the next version of life that will finally make us whole. But the Stoics invite us to pause and ask, what if the life in chasing is already here, waiting to be noticed? Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not hanker after what you do not have. Instead, fix your attentions on the finest of what you do have, and think how much you would long for these things if they were not in your possession." This reflection isn't just philosophical, it's practical. It reorients your mind from craving to clarity. Gratitude is not reserved only for comfort and ease. A true Stoic cultivates gratitude even amid adversity. A fail-fated plan may offer a valuable lesson. A broken heart may reveal the depth of our capacity to love. A setback may strengthen the will. The Stoic does not thank fate only when things go well, but also when hardship refines the soul. Try this practice each morning. Write down 3 things you're grateful for, not grand abstract ideas, but small real things. The quiet before sunrise, a difficult lesson you finally understood, a friend who checked in on you. Over time, you'll find yourself noticing more, needing less, and complaining far less. Science now affirms what the Stoics knew centuries ago. Consistent gratitude rewires the brain, increasing emotional resilience and reducing anxiety. It becomes a source of strength, not just sentiment. But perhaps the greatest gift of gratitude is this: it brings you fully into the present. It teaches you to see, to feel, and to appreciate what is, rather than what might be. And in that presence, you gain not only peace, but clarity. Now imagine this: you wake up one day, and everything you love, your home, your health, your people, is gone. In that moment, how deeply would you wish to have it all back? Just for one more day. But today you do have it. The only question is, do you see it? Gratitude teaches us to live as if everything were a gift, because it is. And once you see life that way, you stop living in pursuit and start living in presence. And when presence becomes your natural state, you're ready for the Stoics' final lesson: to turn inward, reflect honestly, and evolve with intention. Reflect to evolve. Epictetus once said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." It may sound harsh, but it reveals a deep Stoic truth. Growth begins with honest self-examination. And yet, in a world filled with distraction, we often spend more time analyzing others than turning the mirror inward. We move quickly through life, but without reflection, we risk mistaking motion for progress. To reflect is not to dwell in regret, nor to critique yourself into paralysis. It is a tool for course correction. Like a sailor who checks the stars to adjust his course, you too must pause to ask, am I heading where I truly want to go? Picture each day as a piece of music. As evening falls, the Stoic musician doesn't shame himself for missed notes. He listens with presence. He learns. He adjusts. Reflection then is not a judgment. It is a fine-tuning of the soul. One powerful practice is simple journaling before bed. Just a few lines. Ask yourself, what did I do well today? What could I have done better? What will I improve tomorrow? You don't need perfect answers. You only need honesty. A Stoic doesn't aim to be flawless. They aim to be better. And each evening becomes a quiet rebirth, a new chapter with deeper clarity. Many avoid reflection because it exposes what we try to hide: flaws, insecurities, wasted time. But without awareness, there can be no growth. As Heraclitus taught, we must begin by evaluating our own life before we can understand the world. Without that inner audit, we drift, reacting to life instead of choosing our direction. Reflection also means acknowledging how far you've come. In a culture obsessed with perfection, recognizing progress is radical. Maybe today you were a little more patient, a little less reactive, a bit more present than yesterday. That's not failure, that's victory. Real growth doesn't roar. It whispers in small, consistent choices. Think of your character like a structure being built. Without checking the foundation, invisible cracks form. At first, no one notices, but over time those cracks grow. Without reflection, unchecked thoughts, habits and emotions accumulate, quietly shaping who you become. So make reflection a sacred ritual, like a craftsman sharpening his blade. Spend 5 intentional minutes each night reviewing your day. Write, pause, adjust. You're not chasing perfection. You're cultivating awareness. This habit, done consistently, transforms not only how you think but how you live. You begin to see life with greater clarity. You make decisions with purpose, not impulse. You respond instead of react. To reflect is to choose evolution. To evolve is to live with intention. And at the end of each day, ask not, what did I get wrong? But rather, what did I learn? If you can answer that honestly, then no day is wasted, and transformation has already begun. We've just explored 8 simple yet profound strategies, drawn from Stoic wisdom, tools not only to calm your mind, but to strengthen your spirit. These aren't abstract theories, they are daily choices, quiet acts of clarity, courage, and self-mastery. Peace of mind isn't a gift from the world. It's a practice you build moment by moment through acceptance, discipline, and the wisdom to let go of what you can't control. And when you walk this path with intention, you don't just find calm, you discover your strongest self. If this video offered you something meaningful, feel free to like. It helps bring this message to those who might need it. Share this with someone seeking inner steadiness. And if a particular idea resonated, drop it in the comments. Your insight could inspire another. Don't forget to subscribe if you'd like to keep growing on this journey. There's more ahead, more depth, more clarity. Until next time, stay grounded, stay focused, and keep moving forward.